Hey, it's Music News. I'm Decoy Deloy, and I'm here with the latest. As always, we're brought to you by Hello Merch, just a good old-fashioned handshake deal merch company, founded by artists for artists, looking to make your merch dreams come true. But not everything's coming true these days, which brings us to Cradle of Lies, the latest from deathcore pioneers Knights of the Abyss. Established 20 years ago in the Arizona desert, their death metal sound is timeless. We asked Knights member Nick Florence to comment on the song's sentiments. Here's what he had to say.
No comment.
Check out the new single on whatever evil streaming service you use, and score this great Adam Yates designed shirt now at Knight's Hello Merch Shop. In other news, I've been a fan of Bartees Strange for a few years now, going back to when I interviewed him at 2022's Rainy Hellscape, that was Zona Fest, where he shared a few recommendations.
There's a band from DC called Spring Silver. And there's another band working with us on tour called They Hate Change.
Stun when I want to, stun when I need to, pull the ill fade, nah, stun. Yo.
Oh my god, they are horrifying.
What a fun day. Well, he's got a new song, Wants Needs, which pulls together strokesy riffs, a guitar rave up at the end, and that powerful voice. It's from his new album, Horror, produced by Jack Antonoff, and out February 14th on 4AD. And speaking of new music from former Fun members, on January 17th, Andrew Dost's Metal Bubble Trio released Cucumber, a collection of tropical-inspired indie pop. Wastoids linked up with him to dig into the influences behind the album, including Run the Jewels, Weezer, Stereolab, Deerhoof, and Beck.
Hey Wastoids, it's Andrew Doss from Metal Bubble Trio. Thanks so much for having me. I remember a lot of in Unfollow. I feel like that was when I first heard Stereolab. Like we were into like the No Twist or Not Twist or whatever. Stereolab, Why. There was this, I think, like coming out of more of an indie rock background, there was more of a like, we have a drummer, we have a bass guitarist. Like basically the Beatles are my template for what a band is. A 4-person band, 2 guitars, bass, drums. And then hearing that stuff that was like, sounds like it was made on a laptop or a drum machine or whatever. I think I just never realized that was possible or something. And so like Dots and Loops by Stereolab. And there's like this kind of breezy, almost tropical, but it's almost electronic, but it's melodic. It was just this like world of sound that really did it for me. A song for me on the Metal Bubble Trio album, like Universal Themes. I think whether or not you know I like Stereolab, you can tell when you hear that song. You're just like, oh, this guy listens to Stereolab probably.
It's a joke, but it tracks. It's just a universal thing. Well, you could get it back.
The Beatles are still my favorite band. But Weezer got such a hold on me from like the moment I saw the Buddy Holly video or heard it, just wormed its way into my brain. That whole album it's perfect. I don't know what it is. You could probably like analyze the brain chemicals and firing in my brain that happens when I hear it, because like it lights up the whole time, you know. I was actually at dinner last night and Only in Dreams was on in the restaurant, and I was like, this is Only in Dreams. Like this we're at like minute 3 when it gets really good. The audacity to do like a long song to end the album in that way with that just tremendous crescendo and break, and truly I like can't overstate how important Weezer was for me. Like every day on the chat like they had a chat board, like a message board on their website, and this is like kind of relatively early internet days where somebody would post a thread and you would, you know, like Reddit-ish almost, I guess, but just for Weezer. And so I made friends through the message board. We would chat on AOL Instant Messenger, years-long friendships that have now gone sadly because like I would love, like I made this friend like Spicy Biscuit on AOL. I'm like, I don't know where Spicy Biscuit went, but he was my friend online through Weezer. And I don't know, you know, like it's a baffling It's one of the more baffling like career arcs, in my opinion, in terms of like if you look at their entire body of work versus Blue and Pinkerton. Weird blips of genius in there though too. Like White Album is great. Uh, Everything Will Be all right in the End has its moments. The Red Album has its moments. There are these flashes of like, that's what Weezer is in my brain anyway. And then it goes away. And then it's something that I don't really like. But like, one of my other thoughts that I persistently have about Weezer is like, how much are we owed from somebody like Rivers? Like he gave us 2 all-timers. That's more than most. I'll take it, like, and the B-sides of that era are impeccable, like I Just Threw Out the Love of My Dreams. You Gave Your Love to Me Softly, Devotion, like they're all fucking incredible. So, I love Run the Jewels. I love LP's production. I think Killer Mike is, one of the best rappers ever. And LP too, he's great. But like what really I think hooks my ear is that production of LP. And so when I heard Ooh La La, I thought like, man, yeah, like if this was a bossa nova tune, what would that look like? And how can I take this and make like a summer, like the working title was like Summer Bossa Nova Song. And so I was trying to send that around, and I didn't really have any melodic ideas, but they were kind of my guidepost in terms of like the drums hit, there's piano, there's a lot of like lyrical complexity and depth, but it never feels heavy. Like the things that they say are, they touch on so much, Run the Jewels does. And it's also just kind of fun. Like, ooh la la, ah wee wee. It's just cool, And I think that's a sample of something. I can't remember what it is, but I wanted just to have that motion, that head bobbing motion kind of, I guess. And so that was the inspiration for holding on to the music for that one.
And see, it's really me in the end. I know I've been the fool. I know I've been the fool. I know I've been trying to bend the rules.
Did you ever run into them?
I ran into Killer Mike at a White House Correspondents' dinner one time. I got my picture with him. It was cool. When I think about Beck, I think of someone who I think his greatest skill as an artist, or what I really admire or aspire to, and what I see there is he can get into himself and open himself up. And he's curious. He works. I would assume he works pretty hard, but mostly he can like make himself vulnerable. And like to make an album like Morning Phase, decades into your career, I admire that a lot. And then to then come around and do like a collaboration with like Pharrell or whatever, like he's always pushing himself. He's always pushing what it means or what the expectations of what he's going to do. But yeah, the production and sound quality of Morning Phase or Sea Change or whatever, and then you get an album like Midnight Vultures, like that, and like the videos and the visual content of that album. And then like Odelay and Mellow Gold and like the remix albums and Guero and all, like it's all so different, but all like iconic and perfect. And like the guitar part on like E-Pro or whatever, like it's all so good and cool. And like, how does one person generate all of that? Like Paul McCartney too. It's like, you wrote this one and that one and this, and it's like, what? Like, where did that all come from? All out of your brain? And I don't ever want to phone anything in. And I think for me, Beck is like the antithesis of phoning it in. He's like showing up all the time. Yeah, they were a big one for us in the van. We got Milkman. It's just so good. The songs are good. Every member is clearly really good and really like having creative input. It doesn't feel. One thing I really didn't want for Cucumber is that I didn't want it to sound like it was all me playing every instrument, because I think you can hear that in stuff where you're just like, okay, we get it. Like everything is like kind of on the same like wave. And with a band like Deerhoof, the drumming is purely that drummer doing crazy cool stuff and then interlocking with a guitar player who loves what the drummer's doing and wants to do, I think they love playing together. That's the sense I have. I think of them as like floating melodies and some delicacy, but then they also just like rip so hard sometimes too. Like I love those albums. I love listening to music. I'm a fan of music at heart, as I'm sure you are too, where you're just like, I like music. Like how what else am I going to do with my life than try to enter that conversation a little bit, you know?